All right, perfect. Great. Thank you again for joining. Welcome everyone to the session. Let's go ahead and if I can, here we go. Okay. So again, don't need to reintroduce myself, but I just wanted to let you know about sort of the structure of our office, our team members. These are folks that you will see around our office. If you come by, any of these folks can answer questions about programs. Olivia and I manage the short-term programs, and we're here most of the time. So if you stop by, look for the two of us. We'll be able to answer your questions. Elisa Becker, if you're an international student, you're already familiar with her. You've met her during orientation. You've been in communications with her. If you have any questions relating to your visa status, your CPT registration, and any things of that nature, you can reach out to Elisa. My colleagues, Sarah and Brian, are the leaders of our office, and again, oversee our work, my work at a much higher level. So that's a little bit about our team. So let's dive into what Capstone is and what Capstone is not. These are just some helpful reminders, especially if you're continuing students joining us. I think this is helpful to know and to keep in mind as you explore programs that will fulfill your Capstone 1. Capstone 1 is a study abroad requirement for your MSIB degree program. That means it is mandatory for everyone with very little exceptions. If you do have an exceptions, this is the moment to let your faculty director know so that you can find an alternative. Capstone 1 cannot be waived. You'll need to take a course that will fulfill the Capstone 1. We'll talk about it a little bit in the session, but I won't go too deep in it because if you do have an exception, you'll need to reach out to your faculty director and your academic advisor. Capstone 1 is an integral part of your learning experience here at GW. It is a part of your degree program. It is a part of your experience as a student, which hence it is mandatory. It is flexible in terms of the timeline. You decide when and which program you want to take, but it is important to start planning now. It is important to review all the information available to you to make sure you pick the program that is right for you. So now what Capstone is not, it is not optional. Again, just repetition is always good. All students intending to graduate from the School of Business with an MS in International Business must take and pass this requirement. It's not just taking the requirement, going abroad, it's also making sure to pass the academic side. It is not included in your tuition. So this is very important because as you review information that is available to you, you want to review the cost estimates in the detail section of the brochure to make sure that this is a program that you can afford. I am very thorough at providing estimates for students and make sure that you have all the information you need. So make sure to review that information so you can make the right decision, especially when it comes to budgeting. It is not automatic. You're not automatically enrolled in a Capstone 1 program. You'll need to apply, you need to be accepted, and you need to commit to the program of your choice in order to fulfill the requirement. All right, so now that we have our sort of general reminders out the way, let's dive into the agenda. So in this session, I'll cover your Capstone 1 options. So we'll talk about short-term versus long-term options, what that means in terms of duration, in terms of structure, especially if you're new in the program. That way it'll allow you to plan and select the best option in terms of timeline. Then we'll go into Capstone 1 scenarios. So what happens if you want to take a STAP program in the winter or the spring 2024? What happens if you want to take it in the summer of 2024? What happens if you want to take it as a long-term study abroad? We'll touch upon all the scenarios, what it means to, so in terms of completing your Capstone 1 and what it means in terms of your course sequencing. And then I'll tell you about our winter and spring 2024 programs, which just launched on Monday. Applications are now open and live on the website. So we'll dive into each of the programs, what they're about, and what their sort of the general structure of those programs are. And then I will tell you about the two-step application process. If you're a continuing student, this will be new information, so you want to pay attention. And then we'll have time at the end for questions and answers. All right, let's talk about Capstone 1 options. So when in terms of your study abroad, you want to think there's two timelines. It could either be a short term or it can be a long term. So what do we mean by short term? Short-term means that you'll be spending 7 to 10 days in a given destination, right? In terms of credit weight, it will be 1.5 credits to 3 credits if you're taking a program in the winter or the spring, and it can be up to 6 credits if you're taking a program over the summer. Again, this depends on the program and depends on the program type. Credits are determined by the amount of effort that goes into a course. So this is the same system as contact hours for the university. So typically a 3-credit course at GW is equal at least 35 contact hours. So that's how the credit is determined. These are fixed and cannot be altered. Even our partner-led institutions would share that information with us. That's how we determine the credits. Short-term programs are only available during the spring semester and the summer semester. Over the spring semester, you'll have the option to taking a winter program, aka traveling over the January break, or a spring break program, aka traveling over the spring break program. So those are the only, and then of course, over the summer break. So it's January, it's March, and it's summer. There's no short-term programs in the fall. So if you want to take a short-term program to fulfill your Capstone 1, you'll need to take it in the spring of 2024 or the summer of 2024, or wait 2025 spring or 2025 summer. There are no short-term programs available in the fall. The only option available that will be available to you in the fall is a long-term study abroad, which will be the section that I'll get into. There are 2 types of programs available in short-term. There are faculty-led programs and there are partner-led programs. I'll describe both of them in the next slide. One important note about these courses is that you must pass the course. That means that this is, again, these are academic courses. You're expected to perform at the same level as you perform for your GW classes. You must pass your class. If you do not pass your capstone, you'll have to retake it again. Now, what do we mean by long-term? Long-term is a full semester abroad. So what does that mean if you're taking if you're in the MSIB program full-time? That means that you cannot complete the program within the 3 semesters. You'll have to wait until the fall of your year 2 if you want to do a long-term abroad. If this is what you want to do, just know that you can't do it in 3 semesters. You have to do it in 4 semesters, perhaps 5, depending on which partner you want to go to. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of timeline and in terms of your own personal planning. Long-term abroad also means that you'll need to take 9 credits while you're enrolled at the partner. Those 9 credits, the 3 credits for your Capstone 1, and then 6 credits of IBIS electives. So you have to keep all of those credits for your fall abroad program or spring abroad program in your year 2. Courses are taught in English at partner institutions, so you do not need to have local language expertise. So that means that if you do have local language expertise, you'll have more courses available to you, but the courses that you'll need in order to basically fulfill, the international business requirement will all be taught in English. And of course, repetition is always good. You must pass all of your classes with a GWB equivalent. This is very important. That's why it's in red. Because with our partner, each of our partner institutions has their own grading systems. But in order to pass a class and qualify for transfer, it must be the B equivalent for GW. Quick example, our French partners all have a grading system out of 20. So 10 is a passing grade with most of our French partners. But a passing grade that translated into a B is 11. So you need to have an 11 in order to qualify for the transfer. So that means if you go to, let's say, EDEC Business School, and then you end up with a grade of 10, you will not be able to transfer those classes as that needs to be an 11. That's just an example. We can dive into long-term study abroad once we're in that section. And then you'll have a choice of 13 partners that are the best fit for MSIB students in either the fall or the spring. All right, what type of STAPs? Again, on last slide, I said there's 2 types of STAPs. There's faculty-led programs, and then there's partner-led programs. Faculty-led, as the name implies, is going to be led by a GWSB faculty. So this is somebody that you may be already familiar with, that you may have had in a class, that you may have seen around the building. And then they will be taking a group of students, GW students, basically as part of a GW class abroad for 7 to 10 days in a specific country. That's the main difference with a partner-led. Partner-led program or programs organized by our partner institutions. All we do is facilitate the application process and nominate you to the partner. You take classes in their facilities, you're taught by their faculty, you're graded by their system, and you transfer your credits back into your GW program. So let me get my laser pointer out. So what does that mean in terms of structure? Faculty-led programs, it's important to note the course duration. So when I talked before, I said you can expect 7 to 10 days in terms of travel. That's the duration of your travel. That's the duration of how long you'll be abroad on a faculty-led program. But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that you will have to do to complete the course. For faculty-led programs, there's always going to be campus session. This starts on campus. You're going to have 3, 4, depending on the faculty, depending on the intensity of the program, you're going to have sessions before your travel on campus. Then you're going to travel for 7 days, 7 to 10 days, and then you're going to come back to campus to complete, let's say, a final presentation, your paper, submit that to get graded by the faculty. Very important distinction. That is very different from a partner-led program, because a partner-led program, because they're abroad, there are no virtual sessions before the program. The program, whatever dates is on the brochure, is what you can expect. You'll be traveling during those dates. The only pre-program assignments that you can expect are readings that you complete before, or some sort of type of research assignment. But usually there's no virtual sessions before traveling and after returning from a partner-led program. In terms of credit weight, faculty-led programs are always 3 credits. Partner-led programs vary. Winter and spring, 1.5 to 3 credits. Over the summer, they can go up to 6 credits, depending on the program of your choice. Faculty-led programs, as you see here, is further broken down into 2 structures. This depends, again, on the faculty and how they lead their own programs. So you can have either a business immersion program, which is thematically focused. It's on a certain area of business. And basically, when you go in country, you're basically exploring that topic with stakeholders within that topic. So you're having business visits with companies, industries, and organizations all relative to that topic. In a global business project structure, you're basically in a team with 4 to 5 student teams in the class, and you're working with a company or an institution on a specific business solution that they need. So your final deliverable for this type of course is a presentation to that company or institution or organization with the recommendation to fix their problem. So this is practical. It involves networking with a real client, a real partner, and it involves basically giving real recommendations to for business. In both of these structures, you'll be networking with your fellow GW students, because this is, again, GW class. You'll be in a classroom with folks that you might know, or you'll be in a classroom with students that are from different degree programs throughout the school, different schools throughout the university. But you'll be networking within GW. This is different from a partner-led program, because with partner-led programs, you'll be in a classroom at the partner with students from all around the world. So difference in there in terms of the composition of the folks around you. In terms of eligibility, all these programs are a competitive application. So you'll need to submit an application. We'll go into that process in the last slides. So again, further just breaking down the differences between a faculty-led program and a short-term exchange. With a faculty-led program, you'll have a letter grade that counts in your GPA. So for example, if you are falling a little bit shy of a 3.0 GPA, that GPA that you need to graduate from your MSIB program, you probably want to take a faculty-led programs, because that's how you can, get a letter grade that would potentially raise your GPA. Short-term exchange programs, only the credits transfer. There's no letter grade, hence it doesn't impact your GPA. It doesn't impact it negatively. It doesn't impact it positively. Only the credits will transfer. Faculty-led programs are an ideal fit for the MSIB programs, which is why you are required to apply for a faculty-led program. We'll talk about that in a two-step application. You'll have, like I mentioned in the slide before, you'll have pre and post decision, pre and post campus sessions before you travel abroad. And then in terms of finances, it's the standard credit costs. Depending on if it's a 3-credit course, you'll have 3 credits tuition on your e-bill. You'll have a GW program fee also on your e-bill, which will take care of items such as your accommodation in country, plus your travel health insurance, some group meals and personal meals, and transportation and anything that's program related in the country. And then aside from that, you'll also have your personal travel costs, including your round trip tickets and transportation to and from the airport and personal meals outside of group travel. Short-term exchange, again, only credits, and you need to pass your GWB equivalent. There are limited spots available for short-term programs. That means that I can only nominate a few GW students for these opportunities. When I start going through each program, program by program, you'll see how many spots I have for these programs, hence why they're more competitive. There are no pre or post travel sessions. You may have some reading or research to do before and afterwards, but that's about it. And then finances, similarly, standard credit costs, depending on which program you're taking, 3 credits, 1.5 credits. You'll have a host institution program fee that's not going to show on your e-bill. It will be basically the cost of like transportation, anything that the host institution is reserving on your behalf. It doesn't include lodging. You're booking your own lodging and making your own like sort of round trip flights and stuff on a partner-led program. And your credits will automatically apply to your Capstone 1, which is IBIS 6290. If you wanted to apply for an elective, you'll have to submit a petition transfer credit, but we can talk more about that later. All right, now what does it mean in terms of application timeline? So even though I break it in between travel periods, so winter break and spring break, these two have a blended application timeline. So that means that if you want to apply for a winter break and a spring break, it's going to be the same application timeline. Applications open on Monday, they close on Sunday, September 24th. That's 4 weeks from now. On October 4th, you'll receive an email from me with a decision on your program. Either you've been accepted, congratulations, or you've been waitlisted, and with a date at which you can expect to hear back, or you've been rejected from a program. And then you'll have until October 11th, if you're accepted, to commit to a program of your choice. So that means that, let's say you're applying to 4 programs, you get into 2, you have until October 11th to decide which of the 2 you want to go to. You have the option, depending on the timeline, you could potentially participate in 2 programs, but that's up to you. You'll have until the 11th to decide. And then in terms of travel, for a winter break program, you'll be traveling those first 2 weeks of January. For a spring break program, you'll be traveling over the spring break. And then for summer, that's a different cycle. So for a summer program, if you intend to take Capstone 1 over the summer, it's a different timeline. Programs will be released and open for application on December 18th. That's December 18th, the end of the fall semester. And they will be open until February 11th. So you'll have much, much, much longer to submit your applications. You'll have until February 21st of next year that's when you'll find out which program you got accepted into. You'll have until the 28th to commit to a program of your choice. And then you can expect, depending on the program you're enrolled in, you can be expected to travel anytime between mid-May and the beginning of the fall 2024 semester. Quick note about STAP applications is that there's going to be a general information session on September 13, where the faculty leaders will come talk about their programs. They'll tell you about sort of all about the content, everything that you need to know that they'll tell you. I will tell you about short-term exchange, partner-led programs, and all you need to know. There's going to be a reception afterwards. You'll get to network with former participants on these programs. You'll get to ask more questions to the faculty. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to learn more about these options. Now on to long-term study abroad. So long-term study abroad, you'll see on our website that we have about 20 partner institutions around the world. There's 13 of them that are open to MSIB students because a few of them are restricted to MBA students only, but you still have quite the wide choice for fall or spring program. If, of course, if this is an area of interest. So to give you an example, we've had MSIB students complete a fall semester at edX Business School. That's how they completed their Capstone 1 requirement. We also had a student at Korea University Business School who did their Capstone 1 and elective programs in the fall. One more note about long-term study abroad is that if you're specifically looking at specific partners, keep in mind that Korea University Business School is only available for a spring exchange. There's no fall exchange with them. So if this is really what you really want to do and you're like, this is what I want to do, if you're first semester student, so if this is your first semester, obviously you can't study abroad in spring 2024, so you have to wait until spring 2025. That's what that means. For Fudan University, if this is a partner of interest, that's where you want to go. The only available semester is the fall. So then if you're a first semester, you can aim to be able to study there in the fall of next year. So that, again, that's to give you an idea of timeline. All the other partners have fall and spring availability for exchange. All right, here's a long-term study abroad application timeline. If you are interested in long-term study abroad, I highly encourage you to come to the information session that I'm hosting on Friday. It's just about an hour. It will be in person in Funger 520. And in that session, I go over each partner in detail. I tell you sort of what they're about, what their offerings are. It's a great opportunity to learn about the partners, learn about the application process, and also chat and mingle with our exchange students that are from those partners that are currently studying here at GW. So I encourage you to come if you're interested, even if you're not, applying for a spring 2024 or fall 2024 program, but you're just considering it. Come learn more about it, come ask questions, and that's how you'll be able to determine whether this is a good fit for you. All right, now let's get into scenarios. So your scenario number one, let's say you want to graduate by the end of the spring 2024, by May 2024. You need to apply to programs now. So between August 28th, September 24th, you need to complete all of your applications. Like I said before, you'll receive a decision on your application. You'll need to commit to a program of your choice between October 4th and the 11th. You need to complete all of your pre-departure items, attend your pre- and post-campus sessions for faculty-led, or do your readings if there's a partner-led. Make sure that there's no conflict with your 2024 spring classes in terms of, especially if they're faculty-led. So make sure that if you have a faculty-led program and you have a course meeting, let's say on Thursdays, 5 p.m., make sure that you're not registering for classes on Thursday at 5 p.m. But you'll have decisions on all the programs before you register for spring 2024 classes, so you'll be able to fit them around your schedule. Winter programs count towards spring 2024. That's an important thing to note. And I know it's pretty confusing because a lot of people think if I'm taking a winter program, it's a winter term. No, there's no winter semester. It's the spring semester. You're just going to travel over the winter break. That's the only difference. But in terms of billing, in terms of how it looks on your degree map, it will be a spring 2024 course. Travel occurrence, we've already talked about this in terms of like when you can expect to be abroad. And then your Capstone 1 would be complete by the end of the spring semester. Of course, as long as you pass, you submit all your assignments, you attend all the classes, you pass everything, you're good to go by the end of the spring semester. Now, scenario number 2, you're thinking about doing the Capstone 1 in the summer. So you'll be applying between December 18 and February 11. Same thing, you receive a decision, you have about 5 business days to commit, complete all the pre-departure items, attend your campus sessions, and then travel with a cure depending on the program. You can be traveling, let's say, a week in June, 2 weeks in July, depending on which program you're signed up for. And in this scenario, you'll be completing your Capstone 1 by the end of the summer. So once all grades are in, you can expect to be able to clear Capstone 1 by the end of the summer. So one thing to note about summer is that if you intend to graduate over the summer and you still have to take a class over the summer, make sure that you know when you're traveling and how many campus sessions you will be missing because of that travel. That's something that's very, very important if you intend to enroll in GW classes over the summer and take Capstone 1 over the summer. Scenario number 3, you're like, I want to do a long-term study abroad. I don't want to do any short-term program. So number 1 is going to be fall 2024 if you're a new student, or spring of next year. So you're going to have to apply for your exchange program. If you're doing a fall 2024, you need to apply by spring, March 15, 2024. Again, this information will be shared with you via email, so you don't have to worry about missing deadlines. I've already mentioned about how many credits you'll have to take if it's a long-term study abroad. We've talked about, need to make sure to pass all your classes with a GWB equivalent. You'll need to make sure the PTC is a petition to transfer credit. So your advisor will need to know which classes you're taking abroad and approve them before you're able to enroll. This is important because you can't just take any classes. These need to be international business electives. So they have to be approved by your advisor before you can take them. You also want to make sure to complete all of your core requirements for your MSIB program before you travel abroad. Get all that out of the way and only take your electives abroad. You cannot take core classes abroad. You cannot take core classes on the GW campus while you're abroad. So it's either one or the other. And again, there's going to be an in-person, not virtual, information session on Friday if you want to learn more about long-term study abroad options, what those are about, and sort of talk through different partners that you might be interested in. So those are the 3 scenarios. So now let's talk about the winter and spring programs that we have available now. First program is our Global Business Project Panama by Professor Nam Pham. Professor Nam has led multiple of our short-term programs. He's taken students to Vietnam, Chile, Taiwan. Before COVID, he's led our Consulting Abroad program. With our MBA students, he's been to Dubai and Vietnam in the past 2 years. So he's very well traveled, very well connected. So this program, you can expect some really intense work, especially when it comes to delivering those presentations to the partners or clients. These will be, depending on the nature of the program, depending on the nature of the partner, they might be marketing or entry market type projects. So if that's what you're interested in, I'll encourage you to reach out to him, ask questions. He will be, of course, at the information session on September 13th, so he'll be able to tell you all about what he's planning to have for that course. So this is a winter break course. It is a project base. So what that means is that, again, if you remember what I mentioned earlier about project-based courses, where you're basically delivering your presentation to the client in country. So that means that if you're traveling over the January break to deliver recommendations, that means you're starting your campus classes in November. So that's something to keep in mind, that if you sign up for this course, the earlier you'll start working with Professor Pham is as soon as November. So you'll have campus sessions probably every week, every 2 weeks, and then you'll travel to the country early January and wrap up the program at that point. This will be a 3-credit course. These are tentative dates for the travel. This will be determined in the upcoming weeks, but this is when you can expect to be abroad. Our next program is a partner-led program with our Grenoble École de Management partner in France. They've run this program every year as long as I've been here at GW. The program is on technology management in a European business environment. It's very popular. There are just about 8 spots that GW has for this program. It is a collaboration between the I think 3 US business schools and Grenoble. So you'll be in a class with students from Duke Fuqua Business School with Duke University, UNC Chapel Hill, Keenan Flagler, and I believe there's another school in there. But so you'll be in a classroom with students from all of those different business schools in the States. So that's it for our winter break program. Now on to our spring break programs. These are programs that will occur over the spring break. Starting with the Global Business Project Sweden program. This program is a collaboration between the School of Business and SEAS. So that means there's going to be a sort of a perspective on business, and there's going to be a perspective on engineering. It's going to be around green tech, specifically in Sweden. Our two professors, Dr. Anna Helm and Dr. Sania Leblanc, they've actually taught this course virtually during the pandemic in 2021, and now they're offering it with travel. So again, it's a collaboration between SEAS and GWSB. So there's going to be students from both of our schools into this program. It is 3 credit. It is project based. That means you're going to be working with a partner company in Sweden, and that will be your deliverable. And then you can expect travel spring break March 19th, between March 19 and the 17th. Next up is France Corporate Governance Program. This is through our other partner in France, Audencia Business School. They've ran this program on this specific topic for the past 3 years, I believe. It is a program around corporate responsibilities and corporate governance. It's taught by 3 Audencia Business School faculty with those areas of expertise. Travel will occur during the spring break. It typically starts on a Sunday with like a welcome dinner and a short tour of Paris. The program begins in Paris in their executive campus. So you'll be spending 2 days in Paris on the campus, taking courses, visiting their partners. And then on the Tuesday, typically there's a travel between Paris and Nantes, which is just a 2-hour train ride. And then the rest of the program will occur in Nantes on their main campus, where you'll basically have seminars in the morning on the topic, and then a company visit, a manufacturing visit in the afternoons. In previous years, they've collaborated with Coca-Cola. They've taken students to Cointreau, which is a brand of liquor. They've had Nature Découverte last year. They've also worked with Sonia Duval, which is a manufacturer for boilers and heating systems. So they have they're very well connected, and you can expect some really good company visits on this program. This program is a GW customized program. That means that you're going to be in a classroom with GWSB graduate students only. So that's an important distinction, because other partner-led program like this one, Mexico, program with IPADE Business School in Mexico City, this is much broader. This program is their International Business Week. So their own MBA students have to take this requirement. So you're going to be in a class with MBA students from IPADE Business School, and IPADE's 300 partner schools around the world. Like, they have 300 partner schools, and all of those students will be sort of nominated and invited. So you be in a truly international classroom, being able to network with students from all around the world. They have a pretty loaded week. Typically starts on a Monday. You have sort of breakfast, you have seminars, company visits, you have group work. They have a couple of cultural activities in there. Everything will happen on their main campus in Mexico City, so you're not going to be on their secondary campus. But they have a pretty packed schedule. They typically end on a Friday, but it's typical that students would leave on a Saturday because there's activities all throughout the late afternoon on Friday. Next program is with Copenhagen Business School. They're located in Copenhagen in Denmark. Also one of our standard offerings for a spring break program. This is the 1.5 credits. It's same duration as, Audencia and IPADE programs, but it's in terms of workload and deliverables, it's slightly less contact hours, hence 1.5 credits. The program available is their ESG, Sustainability and Impact Investment. It will happen over the spring break. Also typically starts on a Sunday with a welcome dinner, small orientation, kickoff activities with seminars, seminars in the mornings, group work and company lectures in the afternoons, Monday through Friday. Program typically ends on a Friday with, again, like a farewell type of event, and then students can head back out either Friday night or Saturday morning. Oh, one last note that I can say about CDS is that this is one of our most popular programs because of the topic. Of course, it's very attractive for students who are interested in sustainability. We only have 5 spots on this program. To give you a perspective, every year I get about 25 to 30 applications for this program, and I can only nominate 5 students. So that just gives you how tight admission into these programs are. All right, now where to learn more? Of course, I gave you a whole spiel on these programs. My office will have a services fair tomorrow, 3 to 4:30 p.m. You don't have to be there for the whole time. I will be there. My colleagues will be there. If you have any questions, if you're an international student, you want to learn more about CPT, Elisa would be there. If you want to learn more about any of these programs, the Audencia program, Olivia has traveled on it before. My colleague, Brian Andriano, is also going to be there. He's very well traveled around the world if you have any questions. So come to that session to ask, informally. Any of us will be able to answer your questions. You don't have to be there for the whole time. You can just pop in at any time. We'll have the long-term study abroad information session on Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. It will be in room 520. And then there's going to be a general information session about STAPS, followed by a reception on September 13th, where Dr. Anna Helm from the Sweden program and Professor Nam Pham for the Panama program will be presenting on their program. So it's great because you'll hear directly from them about what their programs are about. So I encourage you to come to that session. It's in person, so make sure to make it in person so you can learn more all about those offerings. All right. Now the most exciting part, or the least exciting part, the application process. So for MSIB students, and again, if you're a returning student, you'll notice that, well, this is different. That's not what was advertised last year. Every year we improve the program little by little, and this is going to be the most efficient process in order for us to be able to make sure that you have a placement. So one thing that I'll note about short-term programs is that I run these programs, they're open to all graduate students and some undergraduate students around the school, right? So I cannot guarantee you a spot into a specific program, but I can ensure that you get into one program at least that will satisfy your Capstone 1 elective. So that's basically what you keep in mind when you think about this 2-step application process. So step 1 is going to be through the GW Passport online system. That's a platform. You start becoming familiar with it as you submit applications, but this is where all the brochures, the online brochures for the program are hosted. So you log in. So first, you basically go to our website. Here's a link. You'll get the link, of course, in an email from us. All of our offerings are listed on the website. You'll notice a hyperlink on the name of each of the programs. You click on that hyperlink, it sends you to a web brochure in GW Passport. So you have to log in with your username or NetID and your password. Do not enter your password. Do not enter your full email like Marie_Balalu@gw.edu. The system is going to think that you're not a GW student and then open a non-GW student email. Just put in your username and your password, and then it'll log you into your personal profile. Once you're in to the program of your choice, you will submit all of the application materials. The application is very simple. There's a GW transcript, unofficial transcript, but if you're a first semester student, you can submit a transcript from your previous degree program. There's a student application that you'll need to complete all the questions. This year, happy to announce that we're offering scholarships again. It's on a competitive application process. It is the last question of the application. If you want to be considered, make sure to read the indications on that question, fill out everything, submit your essays, and then you'll be considered for those funds. And you'll need to also submit your passport information and your medical information and dietary restrictions. So those 2 items are not considered in the review process. I don't look at your passport information or your medical information. Those 2 only, I only use them after you commit to the program because there is very little time for me to send information out to the partners, to vendors, to make arrangements on the ground. So I cannot wait for students to basically, submit those items after they're admitted into a program, because it always takes much more time. So I have to collect that before, keep it on file. If you're admitted and you're committed, I can send that information out to the vendors so that they know what your dietary restrictions are when they're booking meals, and the vendors know what your passport number is when they're making arrangements, lodging arrangements, depending on the program. So when you go on the brochure, there are multiple tabs. There's the overview, read the overview, make sure you're interested in that program, topic, everything. Program details, you'll have the cost estimate, you have a bio from the professor, you have a calendar, you have syllabus, you have everything in that section. You make sure to read everything through, and there's a little blue button, apply now, click on it, and it will send you to GW Passport, where you log in and you can start your application. Now, in terms of requirements, you must apply for 3 programs. Again, you must apply for 3 programs. I'll repeat it one time. You must apply for 3 programs. 2 of those programs must be faculty-led, and then your choice of a short-term program. It doesn't limit you to 3. I'm just saying 3 minimum. So you can apply to all programs, all 6 programs you can apply. But I need to see 3 programs, 2 faculty-led, and your choice of a short-term exchange program. Once you've gone through, you made your choice, you submitted all of your application, then you're going to submit a Google form. In that Google form, you'll basically rank those 3 choices you applied for. I use a point system where you have 100 points, and then you allocate it through the 3 programs. You cannot allocate 100 points to one program. The maximum you can allocate to one program is 50. So let's say Sweden is your top choice, you give it 50 points, and then Panama is your second choice. You can give it, 25, 30 points, and then you have maybe Audencia, for example, you give the remaining points to Audencia, right? So you rank it, you tell me why you ranked it that way, and then you submit your application. So now if you're not intending on doing a short-term program and you want to do a long-term study abroad program, just answer long-term study abroad in that first section, and then it won't send you to the ranking. If you have a travel exception and you cannot travel in a short-term program nor do a long-term study abroad, you will also indicate that on that form, and you'll be contacted by somebody from my office, your faculty director and academic advisor, for next steps. So without further ado, I want to make sure that we have time for questions, so that if you need any clarification about the application process, any programs, I'm here and the discussion is officially open. I'm going to keep the recording going because, you might want to refer to it. Maybe someone said something, asked something that you might want to refer to it. So I'll keep the recording on. So at this point, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. You can also use the chat box if you want to drop a question in there, and then I'll respond as well. Up to you. Rob, while we're waiting for questions, is there anything that you would like to add?
Oh yeah, thanks, Maureen. I thought the presentation was very thorough and very clear. It's a lot to absorb. I think one of the questions for students is, suppose they're considering about when they want to do a short-term program, winter, spring, or summer. What should they do in terms of summer programs? When you did the original orientation in August, you mentioned the summer programs, and at least for the faculty-led programs, where they would go. How should the students think about their summer programs when they're thinking about making their choices of which ones they want to apply to?
Yes, that's a great question. So in terms of choice, it's really, number one, I'll say personal timeline, right? Because at the end of the day, it's up to the students to determine, okay, I think it's more manageable for me to do a capstone 1 over the spring break because I can travel over the academic breaks and not have it interfere with classes, right? So that's, an easy decision between spring and summer. Now, in terms of for students who are like, oh, but I want to see what's going to be offered in the summer so I can make a decision as to which one I wanted to go to. That's why I gave a sneak peek in orientation. But those programs, I mean, they've been approved, so I can tell you what summer programs have been approved. But because I don't have further information on it, I can't publish it on the website. But I can say there are going to be 2 faculty-led programs over the summer. One to England, London, on business and estate in London, and then a second one around the Paris 2024 Olympic Games in France that will occur end of July through August. Again, I don't have more details on those because all of that information, passport brochures and information sessions that will happen later on in the summer. But one thing about the summer is good to reference programs that we've offered last year. So I tell students, especially for the partner-led programs, what we have last year is there's a good chance that those will be offered again this year. So you can like browse at least the partner-led programs. But in terms of the summer faculty-led programs, if you're curious about it, you can come, talk to me about more about those summer options. But again, nothing is official until that official announcement goes out in December. I'm not sure if that answered your question.
I think that's good, Maria. I should say that if you want to look at, you can just to build on what you said. If you want to look at what was offered last summer, you can just go to the GNE website and go to short-term programs abroad. Underneath the list of winter and spring programs, there's something called past programs. And you can see for every semester in the past, you can see a list of the programs that are offered, and then you can actually click on their brochures. And even though they're past programs and you can't apply to them, you can see the details of the programs. And I think you can do that for all of the partner programs that we've had in the past. There's no guarantee that a partner will be available this summer, but as Marie said, it's very likely that if a partner was available last summer, they'll be available this summer. So you can get a real flavor. The program that I led, the program on business and the state that I led last summer is also there listed under summer 23 programs, so you can see sort of the overall sense of what the program is about. The other thing I should say about summer programs is the people who are teaching MSIB courses on campus, especially the Capstone in the summer, are aware that many MSIB students go abroad during the summer, and they just work with you to basically make up the class that you missed as a way of being abroad. Some of the programs don't meet every week, like the Capstone, and they try to avoid the weeks where there are summer programs, so there's as little conflict as possible, but that really depends on when these programs are being offered. So it doesn't work 100%, but because we don't have a summer break like a winter break and a spring break, the professors who teach the summer courses understand, and hasn't been a problem in the past. Yep. When you want to do your program really depends mostly on your rhythm of obligations in your life. And so, the GNE staff and the MSIB staff are limited in our ability to advise you on that. Part of it is about your ability to balance courses at given times. Part of it is about whether you're working or doing an internship or traveling. And one of the reasons for doing this info session so early in the year, it may seem like the winter and spring are far away, but given the amount of planning that has to go into this, the time to start thinking about it is now. And that includes taking advantage of opportunities like the ones that Marie mentioned. And Marie, I'm going to appreciate if you would also put this on the MSIB group LinkedIn page, as you've done in the past, a list of the upcoming MSIB info sessions and all that. And so that you'll have plenty of opportunity for interaction with the GNE staff and also with the instructors for these programs to help you make an informed decision.
Okay. Great. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Rob. It looks like I have a few questions in the chat that I want to make sure I get through before 1:30, our cutoff time. Yes, like Rob said, all of our summer opportunities brochures are still available. Application is not you're not going to see an apply now button, but you're able to read about those programs. They're all there, and I was intentional about leaving those brochures active. All right, so first question is, if we need a visa to participate in a program, could we expect visa support? The type of support that you can expect from us is providing a support letter that you're basically enrolled as a full-time or part-time student. This is a requirement for your degree program. You'll be traveling at these dates, and that you can take that letter to the embassy to support with your visa process. If you're participating in a faculty-led program, the vendors that we're using to support those programs will also provide you with a hotel letter, basically saying the student is enrolled, they're going to be staying at this hotel with these details, and then you'll be able to use that in your visa support letter. Next question. If we decide to commit to a summer STAP as an international student, would we need to be registered with a whole minimum of 9 credits for the summer semester? So the summer semester is different than the fall and the spring. I believe a full-time enrollment for the summer is 6 credits, but I could be wrong. Please email Elisa Becker to just make sure that that information is accurate. And then that means that for summer there are some workarounds. So just make sure to contact my colleague, Elisa Becker. She can put you in touch with the ISO if she doesn't have the answers, but she'll be able to answer that question more accurately than I can. Can we do a STAP in spring and in summer? Answer, yes, you can opt to do a STAP program in the spring and in the summer. One of them will count towards your Capstone 1. The other one, you can count it towards an elective program, as long as, of course, it's an elective IBIS, which it'll likely be. But you'll have to basically get the elective approved by your academic advisor. Next question, if we're planning to end our program in December of 2024, can we take a STAP in the spring of 2025? Answer, likely not. If you're taking a STAP program in the spring of 2025, and you want to count those credits towards your MSIB program, you need to be continuously enrolled through the spring of 2025. So that means you can't graduate in the spring of fall 2024. You have to graduate in spring 2025. Now, let's say you complete your MSIB requirements, you graduate in 2024, but you're like, there's a program that you're really interested in, you want to take it. You'll basically have to enroll as a non-degree student in order to participate in the spring 2025 program. I hope that helps. Next question. If we have travel exceptions, mainly visa related, and we cannot do the overseas part, are we still eligible to participate, or is there a solution for that? So if you have a travel exception, visa, like a specific visa for a specific country, you can come talk to me. I can give you some other options in terms of what would be easier. If you think that this is something that will affect your ability to even travel abroad, because let's say you're in the US and you have an expired visa, so that means that if you leave the US, you can't come back in until you have a new visa. Then fill out the Google form, let us know that so we can work with you to find an alternative. Again, Capstone 1 cannot be waived, but we'll give you option to take an experiential learning course that could be that could fulfill Capstone 1. Next question, is independent housing an option, or do we have to be housed in double occupancy room? Great question. For faculty-led programs, you will have to be in a you have to pay at least for the double occupancy housing with the rest of the group. Now, some students in the past, again, this depends on your budget and the depths of your finances, have basically stayed in their own accommodation, but you can't opt out of paying for that program fee because you're staying in another accommodation. So basically the matter is we book group rooms for faculty-led programs, and all programs students are expected to stay in those rooms. It's help with safety and security. If everybody has to be evacuated, we know where everybody is, we can get the whole group out. It helps with efficiency on the ground. That means we can put everybody in the bus and get on to a visit on time. But that's something, if you're really concerned about, you can come talk to me and then we can work through a solution. For partner-led programs, that's different because housing is independent. You book your own housing, so you don't have to worry about double occupancy. If you can afford to have a single room, just go ahead and do that. For a partner-led program or faculty-led programs are different. I hope that answers your question. Last question I see is when the summer program 2024 will be available. As I mentioned during the slides, summer 2024 programs will open December 18 and will close on February 11. So you'll have well over 8 weeks to browse through the options and apply. As Rob mentioned, the list of partner-led programs that we've had in the summer of 2023 are still on the website. You can browse through, see what options you might need, you might be interested in. There are, again, I can't confirm it, but I can tell you that our Asian partners now are able to accept students now. So there are going to be a couple of more options to the partner-led with Fudan University in Shanghai and NCCU in Taiwan that they may have some short-term programs over the summer. But again, I don't know until I have the information in December. What I can try to do, Rob, and this is just as an FYI, I can try to get our approved faculty-led programs names on the website. So you at least see what the faculty-led programs options are going to be, and then you can contact those faculty if you need more information about those programs. But again, brochures and subsequent information like I have for the spring, robust information won't be available until December. Next question. With partner-led programs, will there be any support with booking, travel, logistics, and accommodation? Yes. So for partner-led programs, our partners provide a list of accommodation that they recommend. Usually they're next to the school. They have discounts for students who enroll in their programs. So usually those, I have them listed on the website for all of the programs. And then once we're at the commitment phase where like you're accepted into a program, I'm going to have a live Zoom session that you can join. We can talk through sort of what your options are. And then after the commitment phase, I will also have another session to help students make accommodations. So I'll give you maybe best recommendations for flights. I'll give you best recommendations for accommodation, depending on the partner-led program. Most of those programs I've personally traveled on them, so I can tell you sort of what the pros and cons are. So we can discuss those. But I will have those sessions and help you make those arrangements. The IPADE is the only partner where they also facilitate lodging for an added cost. So you can opt to basically book your own lodging in Mexico City, or you can get a room through them, either a single or a double, depending on the cost, and then they help you book it. So those are some options in terms of support there. So I think that's all the questions that I had in the chat. If you guys could give me a thumbs up if I answered your question, that would be great. Okay, perfect. Yep, I see the thumbs. Perfect. So we're at cutoff time. It's 1:32. So if anybody needs to jump off, feel free to head out. I'm still around. If you have any questions, you can stay in. Definitely, I can answer some more questions. But thank you so much for coming to the session. Again, this was recorded, so I'll be able to distribute the recording after the session. Kara, I don't know if Kara's still in, but I'll send you all the information so you can send it out to all the MSIB students so they have it. And then again, I'll have sessions, the fair, information sessions that you can come to. And then if you still need to talk to me one-on-one, I will have more office hours second week of September for if you need some additional coaching. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Again, I'm going to stick around for a few minutes, but I'm going to stop the recording now.
I'll stick around also for a few minutes. Thank you very much, and thanks to everybody for coming. Just a couple things that are very brief. One is